Hello and welcome back to this channel. So in today's tutorial, we're going to do a very simple basic animation, and that is this one. So let's just get started. I'm going to click on create new, go into digital and click on current screen size. Mine is in the portrait mode, so we're just going to use that. I have a sketch for you guys, so go ahead and download it from the link in the description box below. Once you have downloaded it onto your iPad or any device that you're using Fresco on, bring it into this artboard. You can click on this images and go to photos if you have saved it under photos, or files if it's under files. Mine is under photos. I'm just going to click on that and get it in here. There you go, and click on done. I also have a texture for this, so in the end we're going to add some texture to it. I'll share the link to the texture so that you can go ahead and download that as well. So let's just start drawing this thing. So let's go ahead and change this layer type. Click on these levels here, click on multiply, and then I'm just going to leave the sketch at the darkest possible way. I mean, you can always reduce this by doing this here, but since I feel like you guys might not be able to see the sketch through the screen, I'm just going to keep it at the highest. So feel free to reduce it if you feel like it's too bright. Okay, let's do that. And I'm going to click on plus and go into the next layer, and we'll start drawing our illustration first. So I'm going to go into my pixel brushes and let's go into dry media, and you can choose hard pastel, or you can also choose canvas brush flat. So this is how it looks like, and I think it is pretty nice for this illustration. You can use your two finger to undo. So first of all, I'm going to do the houses, the apartments over here, and then move on to the greeneries and stuff like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this house here, and I want some nice blue color. So the outer ring lets you decide the kind of color you want. So you get this blue tinge. If you go here, you have all the reds and stuff. So I'm going to go into this blue color and bring it all the way up so that I have a nice blue color. And my brush is at 62. You can increase it by using this arrow up and down, or click and hold and type it in what you want. So I'm just going to keep it at 60s, or maybe a little bigger, so that it'll be easier to fill it in. So let me make it 90s. My flow is at 44. Let's put it at 50s, and everything else is, default. I'm not gonna change anything. So coloring is not so important as much as adding details in the end. So you just go ahead and color it vaguely like that. Okay, that looks good. Now I want the sketch to be on top, so click and hold and then bring it on top. Now we're going to draw everything below the sketch layer. So just go back here and click on plus, and we're going to choose some white. We want our windows to be white. So I will just do that. You don't have to be too perfect with these houses. It doesn't matter. So just give it in whatever you want. Now I'm going to plus. I'll go ahead and choose a gray, maybe a darker gray like this. And if you want the exact colors, you can look it up. I'm going to share the color palette if you want, so you can just use it. And I'm going to go ahead and color that. If I feel it's a bit out, use your eraser. Just erase it in like that. Let's do the roof. For the roof, I want a little lighter, so I'm going to push the arrow like that, and new layer, and I'm going to color that in. Oops, in the brush setting, and go ahead and color that in. You can actually put this layer a bit down, click and hold and bring it down so you don't have to trim the bottom part. And then obviously white, and I'm going to give some white on this layer. I can add it on a separate layer if I want, make it lower like that, and then add that in. So if you uncheck your sketch, you should be able to see a rough house, and you can always go back and edit these extra bits here by using your eraser tool. We can do that right now and save time later. I'll bring the sketch back in, and now you can go ahead and do the next one, that is this apartment. So I'm going to cut this apartment into two bits. I'll make two buildings here. Now one is red and another one pink because I just feel like it. So I'm going to go below these blue apartments, or blue building, all the way below, and click on plus on a new layer, and we're going to choose a nice bright red. Why not, right? Or pinkish red. Go back to your brush again, increase it if you want. I'm just going to go ahead and fill this in. And I want this side to be a little darker, so I'm going to bring this bit down like that, and you can give it on a separate layer if you want. Why not? Let's do that. And just color it in. Now go plus, and it should be on top of these two layers, and we're going to go ahead and choose the same gray color. We'll use the lighter one now, and we're going to go ahead and give it like that. and we'll use the darker one and use it to give plus like that. And obviously I have to go and trim this a bit over here as well, a bit like that. Let's give some windows, so plus, and then I want it to be black. Brush again. Let's go ahead and give a bit of windows here. You can also go back to your eraser and trim it in like this so that you can add some nice details later on. Now we'll go back behind this red building. So I'm going to go back all the way down, click on plus, and now we'll choose something pink all the way here. You can make it lightish pink like that. Go back to your brush, and we're going to make this building a little smaller. It should be above this light fixture obviously, and make sure it doesn't touch the pole over here. And we're going to go ahead and color this in. I'm going to use an eraser and trim the edges here. Once you have this, click on plus, and I want the same blue that I had for this apartment here. Let's just take that. Again, you can go ahead and edit the sides, but I'm going to leave it just like that. And you can use the black, or you can make it a little lighter, something like a gray if you want. And then let's add some windows. Let's reduce this. I'm going to add tiny windows here. And now let's go ahead and add the pole. So this pole and the light fixture has to be on the top. So I'm going to go all the way to the top and plus. And let's choose a brown. For the brown, you have to be in orange, the main one. Then you can choose any brown that you want. Let's probably choose a darker color because I think that looks much nicer. I'm going to go ahead and draw the pole. See the pole, I want this to be a little darker, a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and add a bit of dark stuff here on the left side, because even when the light is hitting, this is going to be a little darker, isn't it? So let's do that. And now we're going to go ahead and add the lamp. So click on plus again. Let's reduce the size of the brush so that we can draw something like this. Let's go ahead and add all the greens because I think they are really important. You can go ahead and group these buildings together. I'll show you how to do that. Now let's go ahead and group the blue ones. So click here, click on these three dots and click on select multiple. Okay, here, select multiple. And you're going to choose everything that makes up the blue house and click on this folder. So now if you uncheck it, the blue house goes away. The reason you're doing it just to keep things simple. You can actually do this as soon as you finish with one house or one building. Otherwise, you know, it's perfectly all right. Select multiple and then go ahead and do the red ones. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the greens. I want to do the greens in the background first. So I'm going to go all the way down to this layer and click on plus. And for greens, I have particular, like I'm just going to go all the way here to the lighter one. And we have this absolutely brilliant green, which I think is super nice. We're going to use that. But first, let's bring it down a notch and make it a little darker. You want to start off with a darker color. So I'm going to go ahead and reduce this a bit more to make it a bit darker. And let's go ahead and add some greens here. You can increase the size now. And then, you know, just give strokes, maybe 220 or so. And then that's a little too big, I guess. 170s would be fine. And we're going to go ahead and add some darker bits. Don't add too much, add a little bit, because you're going to go fill it up with lighter bits anyway, lighter and much more darker bits and stuff like that. So yeah, just add where you feel like it's okay, and you know, add some blobs here and there, and don't worry too much about doing it exactly like the sketch because it really doesn't matter, to be honest. So I'm just going to add some here, and maybe I think like, yeah, probably would look better over there, maybe let's mix this up like that, and yeah, that should be good. Now we're going to add a bit of lighter bits to it, so plus, so that this is above that. And let's go all the way up so that it's a bit nicer and brighter. And we're going to add that over here. And I want you to go ahead and decrease this to about 90s because then it gives you a lot more flexibility on the shape of this foliage. And then we'll add that there. Now I want some here behind the blue house. So I'm going to go below that blue house. See, this is why it matters that you have them grouped. So it's much easier to gauge where your foliage should be, right? So I'm going to add a bit more over here like that. I'll take that darker green that we chose for this and I'm going to make it more darker. Maybe like, more blackish, but not exactly blackish, you know what I mean? So we'll go back behind this dark green layer. There it is. So go back, plus, and we're going to add more of this things here. And you don't have to cover the sky, by the way. We can just add some blue over there and make it look nicer. But if you feel like you don't want a blue sky, you can always cover it up and make it perfectly pitch black like that. Let's go back on top of the red building, and plus we're going to add some of that darker green that we have, the olive green, and we will add a bit over here. Plus, and now I'm going to go ahead and move this a little bit this side. Okay, so that's a bit of a lighter green, little darker. Okay, that's perfect. And we're going to add a bit of a nicer green now. And I really want to fix this greens over here. Do you see this one? So I will go all the way up, because to make sure that I am above all these layers. I'm still behind this pole, by the way, and I'm going to go back into that green, this green. You can click and hold and select that color itself, and we're going to make sure that it looks like a nice little shrub. And I want to add more bright greens. I'll go here and make it even more brighter, and all the way top of these layers, and there you go. Add bits and pieces here like that. You can draw in flowers and stuff if you want as well, but it's totally up to you. And just add some brightness to this area. Don't worry, we're going to color it up with stuff so it doesn't look so bright when you have the lights on it. Now go all the way up to the top of the blue house so that it's between the blue house and the pole. And we're going to go ahead and choose a gray, but I want it to be darker gray, so I'm going to bring it down here and use your brush, and we will carefully draw this road. So once that is done, I'm going to click on a new layer just below that and plus, and now we'll use a lighter, slightly lighter, and then we're going to go ahead and fill this area here. You can then go plus, click on levels, click on multiply, you can reduce this if you want, and then go ahead and go into rakes or anything like that, rake gaps, and just going to give a bit of lines like this, and I'll obviously reduce the layer opacity so that it looks like a road, plus, and now I'm going to change this to screen and then give some lines like that, and obviously reduce this as well. You can also make this as overlay or something so that it's not too bright like that, and it'll look like some kind of a road or whatever. You can go ahead and add white lines, the middle of the lane kind. So now it's time to draw the bulb. So I'm going to go ahead and go in between this layer and this layer, plus choose white, not exactly white, so I'm going to bring it down a bit, slightly grayish color, and then go back to my brush and make sure you reduce it obviously, and try to draw in the bulb like that. And then I will choose a dark color, not black actually, I want brown, so I'll go back to the brown that I had. I'll pull it back down to make it darker. I'm going to go into dry media and choose my rough pencil. So it's set at 26 and that should be good. I'll plus sign here, and I'm going to go ahead and draw an outline for this, something like that and like this. So now I'm going to go above the lamp layer and do an outline for this as well. I want to make an outline for this as well. So let's go ahead and add details to the buildings and stuff now, and then we'll come back to the light. But before that, uncheck your sketch because I don't think you need it anymore. Yeah, there you go. First to the blue one, click plus so that I'll add all my details in there. I'm going to be on the rough pencil. Choose black for this, and we're going to add some details here. You can go back and delete off that excess white if you want to. So if you want to delete these white bits, you have to go inside, so double click. And now if you go into this white layer here, you can always choose this eraser and delete it off. I am not doing a good job, but yeah, there you go. Done. And you can press this arrow to get out. And then we'll go up here to the roof, plus again on a different one. And let's first put these things, plus, and I want some white lines, to be honest. So I'm going to add that. You can actually put it below the layer, this one below. That's good. And I want to go take my black and plus, click on plus, go and select white or any other color that you want. I'll make it a little thinner, maybe around 12, and I'll add some bricks. I feel like this requires a plan there, so we can go again up and then choose one of the greens. Doesn't matter which one, so maybe one of these. You can go back to your hard pastel. You can go to your recents here and then it'll have everything, so you can just do that. Now let's go ahead and go to the red house and then plus to go above that layer, and we're going to choose black and then rough pencil again, and we'll add more details here. You can increase the size if you want, maybe 24 or something. And I'm going to add 2 lines like this. So when you're doing this, if this is coming out, you can just press on this clipping mask. And it's going to clip to that building, so you don't have to do anything extra. Some here, some details. That looks good. Now move on to the pink one, plus. And we're going to do the same thing here. I'm going to add a bit of a slide thingy here. Let's choose some yellow, I guess. Yeah, that should be good. I'm going to just add, don't ask me what these are. I'm just adding things to it. I think that's ready as well, and it's time to add some stuff to the greens. So you can go ahead and add it right above that layer or add it on the greens itself if you're confident of what you're doing, but I don't know if I want to, so I'm just going to take a dark green and basically be above the green layers so that I know that I am somewhere where I should be. Okay, and I'm going to add things that which I think will look good. And you see it's above the building, so you should make sure it's not. You can bring it down or whatever, it's up to you guys, but I'm not going to concentrate too much on it, to be honest. Okay, and then you can also choose yellow or whatever, and you can also choose white if you want. And we're going to do that a bit below, maybe about, what is this one? It's that. So we want about these greens, these lighter ones, plus, and you can choose that, or maybe white. I think white would look good. Plus. So I just want you to go ahead and add some stuff. I think I've added all my colors and everything's ready, and now we need to add a major part of it. That is, we're going to go all the way up, and this is going to be even above your street light layer plus, and we're going to choose some dark blue color. So I want you to keep it in blue and go ahead and choose blue. Click on your fill layer, fill it with vector. This is too dark, so we're going to go ahead and make it a bit lighter. I'm going to make it more bluish. Like I told you, I'll share the color, but here it is. And we're gonna undo that, and fill it in vector. So it's more bluish, and you can also make this multiply so that now you see that it's so dark, right? You don't need it to be so dark because then you won't see the actual photograph. So we're going to make it this dark. I've reduced the opacity to about 77. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an animation for this. So I'm going to click on this animation panel and click and duplicate frame. And now here I'm going to use the eraser. Reduce your eraser to as low as possible. And now what you want to do is make sure you turn off the onion skin, because otherwise it makes it so dark that you can barely see. So we're going to go ahead and take the edge of this light bulb here or the street light here and take this edge and draw straight lines like that, and then make the eraser as big as you want and erase this off. You can use the fill tool to erase it off as well, but you know, I'm just trying to be a little more careful and then show you guys the other ways to do that. So we're going to erase this off like that and make sure all this part is erased. See, don't leave out such things, don't be me. Okay, that's good. And then we're going to reduce this to about 3, and when you play you can see that, but that's not done. You're going to go back to this layer where you made this white color. Do you remember? Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and bring it above the outline that we put, and then we're going to go ahead and add another layer, plus, and we will go and choose the brightest yellow you can find like this and use your hot pastel brush. I want you to do that, and I want you to go ahead and color this like that, and I want you to make it a little bit more brighter. Don't use too much pressure, and make sure using light pressure so that you know it's like a little bit of freckles of light like that. Okay, so let's play all. I'm gonna hide that there, and there you go. Now you can add texture to this. Go ahead and bring your texture. I'll share a link which has a lot of texture, so you can use one of those. I'm going to go ahead and bring one of mine as well from files. Once you have the texture, you can rotate it like this, bring it all the way out of the artboard. Make sure, click on done, and let's look where the texture is. Always bring it up, all the way up. You should see that. Click here and make this as multiply, and then your texture is on your artwork, and there you go. Your illustration is ready. So you can make this background lighter or darker depending on how you want it to be, and you can adjust that setting by using the multiply option here. You can reduce the layer opacity. So you can always reduce this here and control how dark you want your background to be. So I've made it a bit lighter now so that you can see the background a little bit and it's not as dark. You can also make it pitch black, but then you won't be able to see the background at all, and that would be a bit sad. And once you're done, you can click on your share, publish and export, click on motion, and make sure you select MP4 and generate frames, and you can get it as a video file. That's it. That brings us to the end of this tutorial, and I hope you liked it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And if you create something using one of my tutorials, please share it with me on Instagram at printmesomecolor or thinkbeyondcolor. I would love to check it out. I'm also on TikTok with the same ID, that is printmesomecolor. If you want to support this channel, you can always support me by buying me a coffee at ko-fi.com. The link to do that is in the description box below. Okay, I'll see you in the next video then. Bye-bye.